In this episode of Vinyl Haul, I have a few thrash records, along with a couple heavy and a couple death, many of which released this very year. One of those records might even show up on my top 10 metal albums of 2023 video next week. So anyways, stick around and let's chat about some albums. First up is the second studio album from Brazilian black and thrash metal band Evilcult. This is The Devil Is Always Looking for Souls, released in 2023 by Diabolic Might Records. So here we've got raspy growls drenched in reverb over top speed metal riffing, though most of the time it strides that whole speed thrash line that's often easy to blur, but even switches things up with some solid heavy metal passages as well. Some occasional melodic leads, but otherwise those of the ripping variety. They definitely have the chaotic energy of older bands like Venom and early Onslaught, but they're not afraid to color that chaos with some early Maiden-esque riffs, both galloping and harmonic. Tempos tend to shift between mid and fast pace with a reasonable amount of song variety overall. There's also an undeniable catchiness to many of these tracks, especially in the riffs. Production has a very mid-80s indie metal sound, not too dissimilar from that of bands like Exorcist and Piledriver. I would say that side 1 is stronger than side 2, but not by a whole lot. Given all that, I can easily imagine this is a really fun and energetic band to see live. As for the vinyl variant, it is 1 LP Classic Black. It is limited to 500 copies. Tracks on the reverse there. Also have an insert, full lyrics, credits, and pictures of the band. And I do love the singer's name is Lucas from Hell. Awesome. And of course, since this is Diabolic Might, you also get one of their inserts for titles that they are selling on the front and the back. As for favorites, definitely Ancient Power, as well as The Devil Is Always Looking for Souls, and The Witch. And speaking of Witch, a music video for The Witch is available. You can watch that at the Evilcult YouTube channel. So, a killer blend of speed, thrash, and trad metal with one foot placed firmly in the past, though. By no means your typical retread of classic metal revival trends without any thought to actual songwriting. With plenty of catchiness and head-banging moments, Evilcult is absolutely a band to keep an eye on. So definitely, check this album out. Next up is the second studio album from German heavy metal band The Night Eternal. This is Fatal, released in 2023. By Van Records. So a very catchy style of goth-inspired heavy metal on this one, with pulsating and almost danceable drum beats, as well as hard rock-inspired riffs and some killer vocals from Ricardo Balm, whom some are saying sounds like Danzig, but it might be more accurate to limit that to Danzig's crooner voice, but filtered through a hybrid of Bauhaus and early TSOL. Plus, Balm is simply a way better vocalist than Glenn. Anyways, the goth is very strong with this record, but it definitely gets along well with some of the better new wave of traditional heavy metal bands out there, including Summerlands and Portrait, as well as modern occult rock acts Lucifer and Shadows, and maybe with a pinch of Nawabum as well. Anyways, the vinyl variant on this one is 1 LP Red Smoke. There you are. Also, we get an inner sleeve, picture of the band, in case you forgot the name of the band and the title of the album. It's there to remind you. Also get a double-sided poster on this one. Band shot and the name of the band. Reverse, we get the album art. There you go. Also, if you look carefully in the sleeve, you can see the front artwork a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but it's in there. It's hiding right in there. Anyways, also a gatefold, picture of the band, guys in the band, credits, and all of that. Anyways, favorites on this one, definitely Prince of Darkness, as well as We Praise Death and Prometheus Unbound. Even the final track, Between the Worlds, is pretty amazing as well. Definitely ends the record strongly. If you're looking for music videos, there are ones for In Tartarus as well as Prince of Darkness. You can check both of those out at the Van Records YouTube channel. So I feel like this record has gotten a little lost in the shuffle of great albums for 2023, which is a real shame because it definitely ticks off all the boxes for me. I mean, it's catchy, it rocks while staying heavy, the vocals are passionate and dynamic, the production keeps everything sounding pretty darn big, and the songwriting is absolutely there. Needless to say, this one comes highly recommended. Next is the second studio album from American black and thrash band Sadistic Force. This is Midnight Assassin, released in 2023 by Goat Throne Records. So right away, love the 80s synth horror intro track, The Unseen Force, leading straight into the thrash assault with blackened vocals, dynamic drum work, interesting time shifts, and some seriously frantic riffing. By no means your typical thrash record. Also, we get lyrics steeped in topics of true crime, as the cover might suggest. Lots of dark subject matter, but also juxtaposed with some super fun and speedy thrash. Also, since they are a trio, there's only one guitar player, but in studio there's a little bit of layering going on, which does fill out the already strong tracks nicely. Speaking of which, there's a nice variety of guitar styles here, traversing black, speed, and heavy metal, maybe even a pinch of bluesy hard rock, but often enough, it's fast, fast, fast. Anyways, the vinyl variant on this one is 1 LP, Blood Splattered. Discogs says it's a Bandcamp exclusive, but I bought this directly from the label, so keep that in mind. Also, we have an insert, some lyrics, and picture of the band and all of that. And we did get some handbills in here, in case you're interested in some of that. There's one right there for you. And there. With the reverse right there. And there may be one more in here. Yes, there is. Got this little guy too. There you go. Anyways, favorites on this one, Speeding Black Leather Hell, absolutely. Also Nuremberg Nights and Howl of the Horde. Also music videos available for Speeding Black Leather Hell as well as Midnight Assassin. You can watch both of those at the Sadistic Force YouTube channel. So it's fair to say that if you dig bands like Bewitcher, Midnight, and Wraith, you'll no doubt enjoy Sadistic Force as well. But they also have just enough of their own sound to stand out in an already crowded black thrash scene. So yeah, check them out. Next is the latest EP from American power metal band Lady Beast. This is Omens, released in 2021 by Reaper Metal Productions. So first off, the opening track's riff fade up immediately brings Metallica's Hit the Lights to mind, but quickly changes to a driving trad metal riff, along with the siren call of Deborah Levine, whose attack and delivery truly suits this music. I think she might even be the Lady Beast. Not really sure. Anyways, classic metal song structures here, complete with wailing and occasionally harmonic riffs and solos, some cool and actually audible bass lines, and of course the vocals, full of vibrato and punch. All around, we've got some hints of Maiden, but heavier than that at times, and maybe with a more rock-oriented catchiness at other times. Anyways, as for the vinyl variant, it is 1 LP black white splatter. Well, kind of splatter. Also, side 2 is etched or screen printed, can't really tell, but you can see it right there. Also, we have an insert, picture of the band, and credits and lyrics on the reverse. As for favorites, definitely the Poison Path, as well as the Fool's Journey. I even dug the rainbow cover of Kill the King a bit, and pleased that Levine threw in some effective vocal harmonics to boost the track. Definitely good stuff. Anyways, this music video for the track Reaper, it is available at the Reaper Metal Productions YouTube channel. Oh, and I do want to thank Chuck from Pennsylvania for sending this along to me as VCLT. In fact, it came with a note. There it is. It reads, "My buddy didn't care for this EP and gave it to me. Since I already have a copy, I thought I'd pass it along to you. I hope you dig it." So there you go. Thanks, Chuck. Anyways, this is a great addition to some other impressive female-fronted heavy metal bands out there, such as Savage Master and Shadowland. My guess is that Lady Beast might have even toured with at least one of these bands, as that would make a whole lot of sense. And since this band has 4 full-length albums before this, looks like I've got my homework cut out for me because I definitely dig this EP, and we'll check into their catalog a bit deeper. Next up is the debut full-length studio album from American melodic death doom band Mother of Graves. This is Where the Shadows Adorn, released in 2022 by Wise Blood Records. So a somber piano intro leads us to an album filled with melancholic riffs, interspersed with acoustic passages, as well as roaring growls adding equally to the despair. Vocals that are also pretty discernible in terms of enunciation. Definitely a bit of a love letter to 90s death doom here. I mean, think the Peaceville 3, as well as bands influenced by them. But it isn't exactly a straight copy either. The guitar work of Ben Sandman and Chris Morrison really carries the tracks into evocative and immersive territory, and with some solid musicianship to boot. Through the 8 available tracks, we get ponderous, heaviness, sadness, and brutality. Because of that, you might sense a lack of flow from track to track overall, but for me it provides a variety that seems to make sense. And again, the stellar guitar work and songwriting are there, so I'm good with it. Of course, your tastes might differ. Also of note is the production on this one, largely handled by Dan Swano, but also by guitarist Sandman. Swano is definitely a known entity, having produced records for scores of bands over the last few decades, and he did an excellent job here with both the heavy and the calmer melodic moments, bringing out the best in both. Definitely deserves a mention. As for the vinyl variant here, it is 1 LP, classic black, limited to 200 copies. Alright. Also have an insert, lyrics on one side, and lyrics on the other. As for favorites, definitely Rain is a pretty cool track, also Tears Like Wine, as well as Ghost in the Twilight. There's also an audio clip available for Of Solitude and Stone. You can find that at the Wise Blood Records YouTube channel. So this is definitely going to appeal to fans of Catatonia and Paradise Lost, and perhaps those who enjoy the more melodic and contemplative side of death doom in modern day. It is a bit of an up and down ride in terms of lacking flow, but it also stays largely constrained in a very formidable and musically proficient style. Because of that, this makes me want to track down their previous EP, and I'm looking forward to where they go from here. So yeah, I dug this one. Next is the latest EP from German thrash band Sodom. This is 1982, released in 2023 by Steamhammer Records. So this 5-song EP kicks off with a remix of the title track, which might sound strange considering it first appeared as a single, and then on their 40 Years at War, The Greatest Hell of Sodom compilation, both from last year. But here it is, again. Though to be fair, I do like the production and the performance at least a little bit more on this one than the original. As you'd expect, we get those crunching riffs, gravelly vocals, pounding drums, and manic solos. It's a simple track, but it also fits with the material to come. I mean, they are revisiting their early days on this EP, so writing a track in that style makes a whole lot of sense. Anyways, moving on to Witching Metal. It was originally on their 1983 demo of the same name. You certainly get a lot of the spirit and energy of the original without the relative lack of musicianship or decent production. But I said the same thing about the Cavalier releases of redone Sepultura material as of recent, so there are probably going to be some parallels between the two acts in that regard. I mean, the whole revisiting thing. Anyways, after that, we get the re-records of Victims of Death as well as Let's Fight in the Darkness of Hell, both originally from their 1984 demo. Right away, you can hear the band evolves a bit, even in the space of a year, with their songwriting and their sound. Riffs are basic and there's a whole lot of vocal reverb, but this too sounds considerably heavier and less raw than their demo counterparts. The EP ends with a revisit of the track Equinox, which originally appeared on their debut full-length album, Obsessed by Cruelty. Likewise, the performance and production are clearly ramped up, but also played a lot tighter. Anyways, final variant on this one is 1 LP, red, black, marbled. It is limited to 300 copies and is also considered a Napalm Records mail order edition. And so get an inner sleeve with all the lyrics. So it's a cool picture of the band. Kind of look like a German motorcycle gang. Germany has motorcycle gangs, right? They look like this if they do. I'm sure of it. As for favorites, definitely loving 1982, great song, as well as Victims of Death and Equinox. Also music videos for the remix of 1982 and no other videos, just 1982. How about that? You can watch that at the SPV Entertainment YouTube channel. So as with the Cavalier releases, I'm also really digging this re-record of early Sodom material. And I think some folks just getting into this band might also find themselves seeking out the old material as a result, or at least one would hope. So yeah, glad I bought this one. Next up is the 5th studio album from American progressive death metal band Horrendous. This is Ontological Mysterium, released in 2023 by Season of Mist. So the intro track, known as The Blaze, combines slow chords, cool bass fills, cymbals, and echoing spoken parts to build into shrieking vocals and harmonic lead runs. And that's your segue to 38 minutes of one serious roller coaster ride. Since we have 2 vocalists in this band, you'll get differing styles throughout, including cleans, screeches, growls, and yells. Speaking of styles, there's a whole lot going on in this record, musically speaking. You've got the progressive, the death metal, the tech stuff, the shred, the fusion, and even moments of trad metal influence. And while I'm not a fan of how many bands abuse multiple styles to create a soulless mishmash of an album, it all strangely works here for me, and results in songs that push those boundaries just enough to be challenging, without also alienating the listener. At least, this listener. As for the vinyl variant on this one, it is gold. It is limited to 300 copies worldwide. There you are. Also comes with an insert, full lyrics, credits, and picture of the band. Also a gatefold. There you go, right there. I did miss something. Felt it rattle around. Looks like a Osmos Productions insert. You get all of their titles there, or some of them. And if you like pictures instead, they're on the reverse. Anyways, favorites on this one are Neon Leviathan, Preterition Hymn, and Ontological Mysterium, especially that last one. And speaking of it, there is a visualizer video available. You can check that out at the Season of Mist YouTube channel. So as many know, I'm not always the biggest fan of prog metal. I find so much of it tedious, masturbatory, and way too scattered for its own good. But with Ontological Mysterium, I'm hearing an album with some real cohesion, but also with some dips into unorthodox waters. In short, the balance has been struck perfectly for me. So yeah, definitely recommended. So just a couple other records I picked up that I have less to talk about, but are certainly worth showing. Let's start with this EP. This is I'm the Man from American thrash metal band Anthrax. It was released in 1987 by Island Records. So I got this from a local record store, and I did actually have to think about the purchase for a bit because I'm not a fan of the title track, almost at all. Fair to say that I bought it for the tracks that aren't I'm the Man. I mean, I love the Sabbath cover of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, as well as the live versions of Caught in a Mosh and I Am the Law, so that's why I have it. But what's also fun is that inside the jacket, I also found a little surprise. Besides the record, of course, which is not a surprise, in case you need to see it. There you go. Surprise is someone cut out the original hype sticker and put it in the jacket. So there it is. Finally, I'm the man. That's kind of cool. Anyways, after that, I also got this split 7-inch single from Dutch death metal band Warmaster, which is actually right there instead, as well as Malaysian death metal band Humiliation. This was released in 2013 by Deadbeat Media. Anyways, 2 tracks from the band, and I should mention that there aren't any track listings here, unless mine simply didn't come with an insert. Anyways, Warmaster, like Humiliation, are big on the bolt thrower worship, lots of mid-tempo, old-school death metal chug going on here. On the Warmaster side, I like track 2 the most, and on the Humiliation side, I'm digging track 1, a little more than the other one. Also leaning a little bit more towards Humiliation, then War Master, though both are pretty listenable. As for the vinyl inside, that's a nice little splatter. Kind of digging that. There you go. Anyways, check this one out if interested. So this is my last vinyl haul of the year. Next week, as I mentioned before, will be my top 10 metal albums of 2023 video, so definitely, absolutely check in for that. As for these records, let me know which ones you like, or are interested in at least. Also, any purchases you've recently made that you're digging, and of course, any music suggestions you might have for me, as I do love hearing from you. Give me all of that and anything else that makes sense in the comments below. Of course, if this is your first time to my channel, my name is Matt. This is the Accusation Network, where each and every week I do videos on metal vinyl collecting, but I also cover the subjects of classic and modern metal in general. If you like the sound of that, definitely give this video a like. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And of course, share my videos with many of your friends. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.